Hey, it's Dr. Aaron with Made to Move. We're talking about RockTape, and today we're going to talk about the application. Basically, first thing, they generally recommend rounding the edges just so the corners don't catch on the closes easily. Optional, I would say. Do it if you like. It's not anything that's imperative. But essentially, what I do when I'm measuring, I just wanted to show this real quick, is so and again we're kind of what we're doing is we're basically trying to tape the outside part of the lower leg. Let's say we have a mild ankle sprain or tendonitis in the outside part of the ankle or something of that nature. So what I do is I measure basically from around the foot, start at the bottom of the foot, measure it all the way up to basically right below the knee. Obviously I pre-cut this one, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start this by basically tearing one tab like so. I usually tear a tab on both sides. I'll show you why that is here in just a moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use that first tab that we tore. We're basically just going to put that down as an anchor. Okay, so we're going to smooth that down really well. And then I find that, especially if you're not used to applying it, it can be a little bit difficult to know how much tension to put in the tape. So one thing to keep in mind with this tape is that more is not better when it comes to tension. We don't want to yank this really super tight. All we're really going to do is increase the likelihood that we're going to irritate the skin. So what we want to do is basically, I cut that or tear that other end, because a lot of times what I end up doing is I'll take some of the tape off. Now obviously it's going to be under zero tension, and what I'm going to do is I can control the amount of tension that I'm putting in it from 100%, which again, rarely will I do that, to just maybe say like 10%. Which is generally what they recommend putting it under. So you're going to run that down that lower leg, and again, if we were to say we have this inflammation in the outside part of the ankle, we're going to run that down to the outside part of the ankle. Now what I find is that you have to consider that certain areas of the foot and ankle are going to get a little bit more friction. They're going to take on a little more friction. So I don't usually like to end in the bottom of the foot. Bend your knee for just a second. Ending in the bottom of the foot, essentially it just creates like an area where it's going to just rub, and eventually it's going to start to peel up. It usually doesn't last very long. So what I usually will do is I'll just take a little bit extra, and again, take that tab off, right? We're going to wrap it around the foot, and this got a little bit long. So we're going to end up right up on the top part of the foot right here. And essentially, well, I would probably trim that off is what I would do. You can kind of see maybe how that's kind of overlapping. I generally don't want to do that, so I'll just basically trim that like so. And then we lay that down. Now, that should end in an area of the foot that's not going to be receive as much friction from the shoe. So there's a little bit of a trick. A couple of little things. I also try to avoid, if at all possible, certain soft areas of the skin, like in the back of the knee, the sides of the torso and ribs, the front side of the forearm, or like inside part of the upper arm. The areas and the side of the neck, actually. Those are all areas where the skin's a little bit more sensitive, and it's not that you can't put it there, it's just that a lot of people will have some kind of a skin reaction as a result. So if you can avoid it, or at least avoid putting much tension in it over those areas, that's kind of your ideal, is what I've found anyhow. So that's basically the application. Again, there are other videos out there, like RockTape.com has tons of videos on how to tape different areas. So I'm not going to get too far into that, but I just wanted to show some real basic kind of real world application tips that I've found over the years of using this stuff. So we'll talk about removal here in the next video. In the meantime, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.